Alright guys, you have probably not asked for it, so here I am today to show you how to use complex and kinda simple alpha masking to make your skins a great deal better. We've got the lockers object in here from Rust, obviously. We'll just bake our textures, make everything look nice, and then I'll get down to business showing you how to make some electronics as well as some just random panels. And hopefully everything will look good, as well as how to make circles around something with a hole in the center, because that's kind of weird with Substance Painter, I've found. I don't want that on there. So I reckon, because that's all nice and shit, and I don't want to have to screw around with the AO at the moment, which I've done before, but I kind of deleted that footage because I didn't like how the tutorial turned out. So basically what you want to gonna do is you're gonna open up your Photoshop, you're gonna create a new file, make it 1024 by 1024. Don't screw with me, Photoshop. And basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna make it black with your bucket, and you're gonna do something on there in white, and that whiteness will be used to create a mask in Substance, which is pretty good. Here's one I did before. Now I'm going to walk you through kind of how I did my circuit boards, but I'm not really going to show you exactly how. This isn't it. Whoops. Here we go. So this was just sort of a daughter board project I made, and I really just kind of wanted to show off how I did this, and to see it we're going to need to work from the top down, because basically everything in here is white, because that's how masking works, black and white. For instance, if we go into Substance Designer, drag a material on top of here, for instance let's go with Iron Shiny, add a black mask to it, and we can, obviously it doesn't show anymore, but if we go to the mask and start drawing in white, it will start to show it again. As you can see, I just drew an E accidentally. Oh well. That's better. So yeah, that's all well and good. There are some decent-ish, I suppose, alpha masks that come by default with Substance. They're a bit of fun to play with. For example, this. And you can really sort of make these stand out by messing with your height layer. So we'll obviously add height in here. And we can't actually change this because of the way it's set up, I believe. No, it's yeah, so the way this is set up, we can't actually change our height, so to speak, because it's not set up to have height on this material, but we can always just delete the material and do something else. But yeah, it's masking in a nutshell, but I want to show you how to do some good stuff. So over here, we obviously have this thing. Close this one, we don't need it. And basically we start off with making, well, at least I start off with making a board. This is how I want my board to look. It just doesn't look great. It doesn't have to, because it's going to be fairly small in-game. Then we add some contacts. Now you can't see this because it's backed by the board. But if we make our board invisible, you can see I'm going to have some lovely gold contacts on there. And so I've sort of done this to demonstrate to you how stuff will look. But that's really nothing like what it's going to look. So we can make that invisible and that invisible, and we can sort of work from the top. So these are the screws I made. Obviously in this I plan to make a material that's higher in height than the material below it. So basically the blacker it is, the closer to the height of the base material it will be. So the white will obviously stand out more for the screws. And then we can just do this. So this is our chip, nothing fancy going on it. It's just a square. We've got some orange things, just capacitors and whatnot, resistors. They look pretty rubbish, but they look alright in game. We've got pins all over the board. Now obviously you can't see this when we put the board on there, but if we put the green layer back on, you can sort of see where stuff's going to sit. We've got our ship in the middle there, we've got our things there, we've got resistors over here. Yeah, and we can kind of just go like that, and then we've got our contacts. And put that all together, you get a pretty great array of good looking stuff to throw on a substance painter. Now, obviously you got the board behind it, but you know, we can close this because I've already made it, and we can come over here to a folder where I've saved each layer individually. Basically, we've got our board, we've got the chip, we've got the gold contacts, we've got the orange caps, so on, so on, so on. And we've basically got that all set up, and we basically just select it all, unselect our PSD, we don't want that, and we're going to drag it into Substance. Now, I'm just going to give this a title or an optional prefix / path of circuit board, probably spelt wrong. Copy that into all of these, and we're going to make them alphas, because that's basically what we're doing, is making some really stupid, funny looking brushes. We're going to import them to our current project, just so if we ever need to edit this again, we can see them pretty well. And yeah, what we're going to want to do, obviously, is now we can see this on here. We're going to want to make it bigger, obviously, but we're going to want to start selecting materials to throw at it. We're going to exit that so we stop lagging. And yeah, so I'm just going to select some basic ones that already exist, like plastic mat. It's obviously orange or reddy kind of colour, so we want that to be a nice green, deeper green, sort of motherboard green, you know, circuit board green really. And we're going to bring that out a bit from the basicness, maybe get rid of some of this damages. Yeah, let's get rid of you. And yeah, we'll throw a black mask on here, and we can come over to our alphas, where we now can type in the search bar. You may not or may not be able to see this circuit, and we've got our brand new alphas. Now I'm going to bump up the size of this. You'll need to remember this size because they're all scaled to fit each other. So if we make one size 30, the rest will also probably need to be size 30. In fact, I might make this 40 just to make it really blatantly obvious what the hell we're doing. So that's that. You can see it duplicates it to the side. That doesn't really matter, seeing as this isn't actually a skin. We can grab something like our gold and throw it on top. Obviously, we're going to want it on top of the last layer. But because of the way this sits in a circuit board, you might want to look up some pictures of a circuit board to sort of get your head around this. We're just going to add some height to this. Make this... No, we don't need height on this one. It just needs to be the same height as the one below it. And we can come back to our alphas, type in circuit again, and we can find our gold contacts. Now obviously you can see over here it's still size 40, you may be able to see that in 1080p, and we can just throw that on there, and that's all looking nice and good. And those are two different materials, so we've got a nice contrast between them. This is kind of low resolution document. That might be why we're having some issues, but it makes it run really fast, and you could be convinced that's part of a circuit board in a game, especially if you're not running at ridiculously ultra settings. Now if we come over here, we've still got pins and silver contacts we want to do. I want to do those next. We want to do the silver contacts on the same sort of layer as the gold. In fact, we can literally duplicate gold, add a black mask again, and change the color to a silver. Come back over here, and we've already got this loaded. Ta-da! There's our pin layout. So we can duplicate it again. I'm not going to bother naming these for the sake of time. This time we'll add height, and we'll probably bump that up to 0.2 or above the last one. And we'll once again add a black mask so it's not affecting the last ones we put down. Come over here, circuit, and pins. Now, you'll want to make sure these are all lined up, obviously. Pins will probably be decently to start on. And you can see those kind of pop a bit, and we can really mess with the height if we want to make those really stand out from, or I guess sink back into, preferably stand out from the last layer. We've also got our resistors, screws we might want to put on this layer. Make sure we're in the mask. Select our screws, and we can just throw them in there. They're pretty rubbish looking screws, but you know, they work for the time being at least. And yeah, so I've still got orange caps, resistors, and chip to do. So I'm gonna find a couple of different materials for them. I'm thinking some plastic rubber for the chip. Add a black mask to that. Maybe some plastic used up shiny for the resistors. Add a black mask to that too. We'll want to make this sort of a transistor color, that sort of creamy orangey look. Bring it over here a little. Yeah, it looks good. And once again, height. We want this to be pretty high. And we'll come over here, come back to our alphas. And we can select our resistors, and we can see that lines up perfectly still, and that kind of adds some more depth to the board. We'll come back over to our chip layer, we'll select the chip, and plonk it right in the middle there. Now you see that kind of sinks back in. It's not really what we want. Just make it sure it's lined up. And we'll want to come over here and find out what our base layer is doing. It's not doing much. So we can pop it out, and that really looks nice, doesn't it? So I'm going to duplicate this one more time. Make it orange. And really, if you're looking for inspiration for these kind of things, just Google circuit boards. There's not that much difficult about that. It's a really odd colour we're getting there. Needs more red, I guess. Yeah, it works. And finally, we can select our orange. They're not actually caps, please. Anyone who actually knows about electricity and circuit boards, don't hurt me for this. All right, I can't remember anything. But yeah, so there's a reasonably convincing circuit board. I'm not a circuit board designer. We've got no traces on this, which is something you might want to add on in your own time. But yeah, it's basically a matter of opening up Photoshop, drawing some lines, and hoping it works out. So I'll sort of walk you through creating a basic circuit board in Photoshop at the moment. Just like really, really simple. Just using the layers we saw before. We'll make it black, obviously. Add a new layer, call this the board. We'll want to make this white, obviously, and we'll just make this a square. Ta-da, done. New layer. We want to add some holes for screws. We grab the circle or ellipse tool, we make it black, no border. Hold shift so it's a circle. Screw it up so it is actually white for some reason. And drag it back over here and sort of just plonk it in the corner. When you're working at low resolution, the placement of these things won't matter too much. If you're working in high res, I wouldn't recommend screwing around, just doing whatever. I'd definitely try to go for the best result you can get. So we'll just drag this into the middle so it's nice and placed well. And put this... No, we don't want that in the middle. Put it there. Make another layer. At this point, we'll probably want to turn the rectangle off, just so we have an idea of where it is. I mean, we can always draw on it. Just select white. You'll want a fairly solid brush for this, and fairly small as well. That should do us. Maybe make it 6. And just kind of... This is really rough. I'm sorry. Yeah, that looked horrible. Yeah, this isn't going to work out, is it? Just kind of make this 8, I guess, and put some different pins around the board. You want to make sure these line up, but I'm just kind of placing them randomly at the moment. I'm sorry for that. It actually hurts me inside. But yeah, connect some stuff up, see what happens. Hopefully you'll come out with something that looks alright. We can plonk a chip on here just with the rectangle tool. Once again, white. Now something about chips is they obviously have connectors around the bottom of them. So if we get rid of this, we've still got that down there. We've got our chip here. We can make another new layer if we haven't already. Make this 10 perhaps, and we can just kind of put dots around the outside of this. And obviously those are on a new layer, so these will basically replicate the function we've already seen in Substance of these little pins around the side of the chip. And really that's it. It's not hard in any way to do this. It's just takes a little bit of time and work to make sure it meshes together and it looks good. So good luck. Hopefully the last video will have clarified for you, for anyone who is having issues with submitting to the workshop, how to submit to the workshop, how to get some good screenshots, and obviously if you have a feature piece using a circuit board, you'll want to make sure you have some good shots of it. But yeah, it's just the standard process of exporting, importing into Rust, and submitting. Thanks for watching, I guess. Have a good one.